Welcome to Model Horse Tack School. My name is Carrie, and today we're going to start working on the medieval saddle for men. Okay, and I got this drawing here. Kind of gives different views of the tree. Your tree matters is probably the most important part of a saddle. You get the tree right, then the rest becomes easy. So you can see how you have these two pieces coming. This has to be flat in the back so it sits on the horse right. Then these come down over the withers, your pommel and your cantle attached like that, and then it would be covered. So this is just a nice little drawing of what your tree looks like. Here's somebody doing a tree with just a pillow for padding. So just showing you that's a possibility. Same concept on the tree, a little different. Here's a finished saddle, museum piece. And this is it looks way different. But basically the drape just hooks around a horn. So it's going to be the same underneath. That's a round cantle, but then they have these pillows that actually come off. And this is fabric with gold embroidery. So the tree is going to be the same. This would be a little bit different. It's going to have the horn. And then that's just a different cantle style that's on there, but it would be basically the same construction. I really do love this one. Metal in the front and the back, very padded. This is like royalty. This is a really nice saddle. I'd love to be able to make this. I don't have the fabric yet to make that happen, so it's on my to-do list. But you have, again, your standard tree, and then you have this really high cantle, and then you have your pommel is kind of like curvy, and got that up there. Here's a top view of a modern rendition. I kind of like this one, so you could see they actually put rings in the front for a breast collar, and I think there's rings in the back as well. Totally different how it's finished, but the construction is basically the same. We have another, modern rendition, and this one here, this is a dovetail pad, and then the stirrups come underneath the skirt here. And again, basically it's going to be the same. So you got your tree, and then your skirt just goes over. Very hard, I'll tell you right now, it's very hard to do both the front and the back piece at the same time. So it's possible, you would take a piece of, your finished whatever, and then you'd have to cut little holes so it can go in, and then glue it down. So this is very advanced. It's really cool looking though. Here's another, so they actually have a seat here, so the seat goes all the way up, and then there's your kind of like a western saddle on this. So there's another type, has the crupper attachment right there. Here's one that's got 3 skirts. Basically it's the same. You can see cantle, and then the pommel. And so the pommel, this piece, in order for it to fit better, it actually goes upwards. Over a hook or something on there. These are lovely stirrups to give you an idea of what the stirrups look like. Here's a little bit more about the rigging. I really liked this piece. So now this is a center strap. So on this one here, the strap is actually a belly band. Goes just right after the swelling of the belly. So they used to actually rig them this way. Modern judges hate this. They don't know historically this is correct. But here's where your stirrups are, so they're going to be up here towards the front. So you have a strap off of hardware up here, and then a couple of buckles. So that was a pretty good drawing of what the rigging looks like. We'll do something similar. Nobody can see it, so it doesn't matter. Here's some more paintings. Now, I like to look at paintings because they'll give me an idea of what they were doing. Okay, I know these aren't photographs, but these are their historical documents. Okay, you have to recognize that they painted it because they wanted it remembered. So you have one rigging strap around the back, you have a breast strap, and then you have the reins. Okay, we can't see what the bridle looks like, but that'll give you an idea of what, you know, kind of it can look like. Very simple design. This one here, pretty much, you know, same thing. Some of these are double reined. Every once in a while you will see double reined. If it's jousting or if there's a knight, it's going to be double reined. All right. So this one here is the one with the two ears coming around, a high pommel, and that's probably metal right there. So your finished piece in the front has that curve, not the actual supporting piece. But again, breast collar, simple, you know, decorative strap on the back to hold it in place. Here's one a little bit more decorative, single rein, and then, you know, looking at the different straps, give you an idea of what you can do for the rigging. Here's another one. I kind of liked this. It's got like an X, well, a star on the back. So you got two on each side, and then you got the crooper, and then you got something. You got the crooper, and then you got something for the saddle. And then pretty simple. The bridle's actually pretty simple, and the straps hanging down are purely decorative. Okay, and it's again the one that has the. They seem to be a very popular style with the little kind of looks like this, where you got these coming in and holding it in place. This is a prototype tree. I really liked this rigging. Look how that skirt is. So these are all the different possibilities, and I just basically picked one that I wanted to do, but these are other simple things. Look, there's no bra band on that. There's a throat latch. Yeah, I don't know how. That could just be because the mane's in the way. He didn't paint it. Stirrups are very triangular, and I kind of liked this rigging. That was kind of cool looking. Here's one. I can't really see what the saddle is, but you got that roll in front. Like I said, that's probably the front cover piece, and the tree itself. Support would stop here, and then the front would do that roly thing. This is like, see, I see two reins, one bit. So it's not a double bridle, it's just double reins. Very simple for the front. He's got probably some tassels there. Double style here, one under the tail, one behind the wither, or the hips back here. Can't see what this is just the rigging part I wanted you to see. Here's another one. It's a lot lighter, but again, it's just kind of holding the saddle in place. I have a lot that they don't have any. It's just the saddle and no breast collar or rigging, so that's up to you. Then I saw these. I really like this one. It's gold, so gorgeous. Love the bridle. Love the detail on the breast collar, and then the straps here, where it's really just a crooper holding the saddle in place. So this wouldn't be for going out hunting or something. This is ceremonial. Love that bridle. Look at that bit. Look how long that bit is. And then something very similar, different pattern on your breast strap. I like this because it shows me that this one has two straps, two belly straps holding the saddle in place. Really tall, and that would be metal on the back and the front. It'd be decorative metal. Same thing on this one. I think the same tack maker made it. So goes up here where the knees are, rounded. And this here has got like a point in the back. So I'm going to do, I'm basing it off of this one, but I'll give you other options. So, okay, so let's take a look at the pattern. You have your drape. I would do a finished 2-3 ounce. Your chromed hand is going to be drapier than, say, like a tooling leather, but it really depends upon what you have. If you want to use a fabric, you can. The problem with this piece, you may want to change the saddle a little bit, because it can do something like this. You may want to change something in here. Maybe make it shorter, but be aware that if you have something that's too light, you could probably do like a velvet. This is suede, but it's a garment weight suede. So you have to recognize that you might get these really weird, I don't know, whatever's in there. So I would do something that's just a little bit stiffer. As you can see, now you can always put like padding or something in there, but if you use something that's stiffer, this is a 2-3 ounce, then you're going to have you know, a nicer drape and a better fit. I would use a tooling leather here. You want the stiffness. That's the base of the saddle. You could use a chrome tanned. I would, I mean, you could, if you had, that's what you have, you could. The padding, I just use suede, but sometimes I use, I have this wool batting for quilting. It's a real tight, I don't have any to show, but it's tight, and it's really a nice batting. So it's very much like a felt, but you could use a felt. This is your interior, so if you're going to do suede, or you could do a velveteen or a velvet, whatever you're going to use for the interior. And so here I used a suede. Okay, padding, same thing for the saddle padding, but I have used a regular quilt batting. Gives it a nice poofy. It's hard to work with, but it does give some poof to it. And so that's just gonna, this one doesn't have any padding, but that's just gonna give it a little bit of poof. A little bit, just, you know, not a lot. I don't know, it's hard to see in the black, but just a little bit of poof. So you'll need that. Okay, so these are your supports. So I would use like your suede or whatever your interior fabric is, and that's going to hold that down onto the tree. And pick one, either one front, you pick one front and one back. Okay, so as far as these shapes here, I mean, you can play around with whatever shape you want. Just don't mess with the curve here, and try and keep the distance between these the same, okay? If you change it, then I had to actually modify, this is a prototype, but I had to modify this because it was too wide and it wouldn't fit in there. And so I would just try and keep the distance here and this curve the same. So if you wanted to, you know, bring this up, you know, make something really round or something, you could do that. Just on both of them, remember, just keep this distance the same between there and there, and then you can do whatever you want there, okay? And so here's the back, so that's your finished interior, and then that's also your finished interior. Now here's your supports, and you need something that's got some strength to it. So here I used a tooling leather, and here I used a 2-3 ounce. So you could do those, but you're not gonna be able to use a fabric, okay? I actually prefer the tooling leather, and then I can paint this, or I can put like a silver foil on it or a gold foil to give it that color. So that's what I would do. You can then take another piece. It'd have to be a little bit bigger, and then cover it like I did here. Now, of course, the issue is you're going to have this you've finished edge, so you'll have to figure out how you're going to put like studs or something to cover that. But this way here, you can just put your studs right on the top, which you'll see a lot. They have like gold or whatever studs on the top to kind of hide that seam. And then you need the aluminum, and the aluminum is important because if you want, you know, to make a curve, like this one has a curve, and definitely to get this curve here, you want that. Now you're going to want to follow the natural curve of the can. So if the can is, you know, rolled this way, then you're going to want to make sure you put this on the way it's curved. Okay. You got your cinch lining, your billet straps. This is for the bridle. Now you don't have to use my bridle. You can use whatever bridle you want, but this is the bridle. This is the breast strap. Now you probably may need to add extra to the sides here. So if you want to cut that longer, even the model I'm using, I'll probably have to put a buckle or something to extend this. Now this is the rear strap decorations, totally optional depending upon what you're making. This one is like that king saddle that I showed you guys. A little abrupt, but here we go. I got all the pieces cut out. I'm using a 2 3 ounce for my drape on this one here. Sorry, tooling leather. So I had to dye everything, including the saddle tree. I learned that it's good to have that the same color as the rest of the saddle. I'm gluing the rigging on. You can glue it on the front or the back, whichever you prefer. On the front, it helps keep those front supports down, especially if you're using something stiff like tooling leather. And then it's less training involved. So I went ahead and chose to put them on the top. You'll see another prototype saddle I was also using to do the assembly video that I put it on the bottom. So it doesn't matter either way. Just make sure that you get your, these are actually 9mm jump rings on all 4 of these. So the front one is the cinch, and then the one next to it is for the stirrups. You can do either way. You know, you can put the stirrups in the front if you want, and then put the rigging in the one next to it. I'm going to go ahead and put a 10mm jump ring here on the back because the straps for the decoration, the rump decorations, has really huge straps. Now, if you're just going to use, you know, a grouper or something, then you can use a smaller jump ring, but I need the bigger one. Okay, so now we're going to do the aluminum. This is really just to hold it in place until we get all the pieces assembled. So the first one in the stack is the aluminum. So we got to let it set up enough that the aluminum will keep popping off or move around while we're working it. So same thing from with the back, aluminum. And if it was just the aluminum, we weren't stacking anything on top of it, this glue wouldn't hold it very well. But it will hold it long enough for us to get the like the padding and the finished leather on top of it. Okay, so that was your external finish, which I finished in tooling leather that we're putting the aluminum on. And now we're going to do the padding. You don't need that much glue for the padding, so I just did an outline. And now I'm going to glue the exposed edge here, and that's where I'm going to put my internal fabric, or in this case suede. And then I'm just clamping right along that edge, right? So because that's the only place I put the glue, it's the only place I really need to clamp. And almost there. So go ahead and put that aside, let it dry. Okay, the front and the back are the same, so I didn't actually make you sit through me doing that a second time. But you stack, and then now it's dry. Okay, so you can see there's my padding, my aluminum, and then that internal piece that's suede has those tabs that will help this put it in place and hold it. Now you want to center it, and it's curved in a little bit, so I want that curve to be right at that corner on that tree. If you see, it's right in that corner. And it naturally wants to do this. You want to make sure that you have you don't have it too far back, because you're going to have to put the drape on that lip. All right, so clean this front up a little bit. It's going to be the same thing. This one, however, is not going to curve. It's going to be mostly straight. I had had a whole bunch of different options for the front and the back, and it was just too much. So I picked these, which seemed to be the most common. And so see how I'm gluing it vertical onto the tree. It has to be back because you got to put a drape there. So there's that little piece on the saddle tree that's still there. That's where you place this. Okay, so it's back from the front a little bit. And now I'm adding glue, because my goal here is to make sure it stands upright. And having those suede pieces in the back are helping to do that. Put it in the right place have it stand straight up, and then we need to clean off the glue. And don't, when it comes to this, plenty of glue, because that's really what's going to hold it upright. That's the strength. And that's what I'm doing. I'm just holding it until it sets up enough. And now I'm going to do the same thing to the back. So there wasn't enough the first time, so now I'm just going to tip that seat back. And I'm going to hold it. Plenty of glue. I'll squish it out. And because I'm pushing it, it thins out the glue, so it's going to dry just a little bit faster. Or not dry, but at least set up. It takes 24 hours for this glue to dry. And a little bit of water and you can undo the glue. I've busted the glue bond. It's strong enough that after 24 hours, it's hard to bust the glue bond. Okay, so now because this is supposed to be the finished leather, I'm going to go ahead and put on the metal that I want. So I have some brass foil. I cut it exactly to the shape of the seat. I didn't do anything else to it. So it's not like engraved it or anything. I'm going to put that on. And it's important to do it now, because once it'll be hard to put it on it once you put the drape on. And this way everything's exposed. So same thing to the front. I'm taking some of this brass foil. I'm going to go ahead and glue that on. So that's why I like the tooling leather actually for the finished piece. It's smooth, it takes glue well, and you can color it any color you want. So there we go. We're going to let that dry now. Now we're going to deal with seat padding. This piece here, curved part, goes towards the back. Now you'll notice this is a different tree. This is the other saddle. It was a prototype. I did not like the rear seat piece on this, so I didn't provide it. The points didn't look right. And anyways, you're going to glue that right in the back. In the front, we're going to start gluing on triangles. We start with the smallest one. The longest end goes up against there. See, we'll put glue on top, a little bit on the sides to hold it down. And then we're going to put the next size triangle right on top of that. So we're really just putting it in place. If we use too much glue, you can actually take away the squashiness of your padding. So I'm going to put a little bit there and a little bit there, because this triangle is bigger and I want to make sure that lays flat. And then I'll do a little bit of glue under that big tip, just like that. And that'll hold it in place. Next thing we want to do is the padding underneath. This is kind of like putting chamois on a Western saddle for a model horse. Gives it some grip, gives it some depth, but not too much. You can always add a saddle pad if you need to, and it should fit right like that. And this is that nice batting I was talking about that's nice and thick. It's thicker than a lot of felt, but it's really nice. Okay, slip the seat back on first. Just as easy as that, because this is a chrome tan stretchy. Now in the now this is the tooling leather. Tooling leather, I had to really work it. I had to push the seat top in to make the seat top narrower to be able to fit it into, all right, there, come on. So I fought with it with the 2-3 tooling leather. Okay, but it's possible to get it in there. All right, now I'm going to glue the front inside down. Got that on my suede. No forgiveness for that. Never get glue on your suede. And then I'm gluing down the front and trying to do it so that the tree doesn't show. However, it really should be dyed or something. And on this one here, I had to cut that front because it was too wide. Again, I didn't include that in the pattern. that particular front piece. I'm doing a little bit of edge coating just because that white was bothering me. And then you can glue down the back as well, inside and outside. It should sit in there, no problem. Here, there me getting that little piece right there. Okay, so you could do the same thing to the rear, inside, outside, and that's up to you. All right, this is the seat piece. The straight edge goes towards the front, the curved towards the back. I found this easier than trying to fit a one piece because I don't know what your padding's going to look like, and that'll change that third dimension. So it's possible to just make that seat piece longer and then glue it to the back and then cut it to fit. You can experiment with all sorts of things like that. I wanted to make this as simple as possible so that you can be successful the very first time. So there's the seat piece in place. And pretty much now we're on to rigging. So there's a cinch. I'm using buckles, 1/4-inch buckles. You can definitely turn this, create this with using the jump ring tongue type of connection that we use with Western cinches. You could do that. I'm just going to go ahead and use a buckle, a big 1/4-inch buckle. They used buckles. Okay, so this is the cinch piece, and it's also the lining piece. And because this is tooling leather, dyed tooling leather for my cinch piece, I really do want that felt just to keep the dyed leather away from my animal. Once it's sealed, it's not an issue, but I don't seal. That's my last step, is to seal. And you just don't want that to happen accidentally. That's just a piece of felt I'm using for the lining, nothing special. And then I'm going to trim. I cut it a little bit uneven, so I'm just kind of trimming the extra off the sides. We're almost done. Okay, now we're going to take the billet straps. Now the ones that you have already have points on them. This one here, I had to make my own points. So I went ahead and added those with points for you. And I'm just doing a fold over and gluing them in place. I'm using the front ring. Like I said, you can use whichever ring you want, front or back. And then go ahead and put a point on. And then go ahead and buckle it. And there we go. Now this is putting on stirrup leathers. Measure the length that you want. These were way too long at first, but they'll work. Went ahead and put, they've already been skived because I always skive my leather. Put the buckles on. You put it in, put the stirrup on, buckle it, and then you end up with something that looks like this. We will eventually get there. This is the finished project. So I want to thank you for spending time with me today. Like, subscribe, tell your friends about the channel. We'll continue this next time.